I've never really kind of explained why I joined Sanctus. When I first joined Sanctus, a lot of like my mates were like, "Mate, that's, you know, are you sure Sanctus is for you? You know, why you know, mental health, is that something you care about? Is that something you're passionate about? Why are you doing this sort of thing?" So I thought I'd do this video to kind of address that and to kind of talk about that. So, where do I start with this? At uni, me and James became mates, and we started this app called Matchchat, which was, I suppose, like an idea, like just something for us to, like a little project for us to work on, with this idea of like football and tech and an app, and it was cool. Before that, I'd kind of had a few ideas of things that I'd played around with, like buying and selling stuff in my first year at uni, and then this is the first thing that really, where I was kind of like working with somebody else on it, and it felt real. And we put together a little team. There was 4 of us, and we ended up dropping out of uni and going through an accelerator program with the app, raising money, and at like 21, we are like running this, this tech business. We had no idea, I had no idea what I was doing. I was just kind of excited and passionate and wanted to start, just build something and create something. I think I hadn't really thought about it too much. That's all I knew. I hadn't really thought about where I wanted it to go. And before we kind of knew it, we had a team, we had investors, we had this product, we had a board, we had all this kind of stuff that we suddenly had to get used to and learn very quickly. And looking back to those, we ran it for 3 years. Long story short, we did quite well with it, but ultimately the business didn't work out. When I look back, for those 3 years, from 21 to 24, I just was not myself. It's the best way I can describe it. Just wasn't really me. I was like a fake version of me. I was like this kind of pretend version. And what I was trying to do, I think, was portray or be the kind of person that I thought people wanted me to be. I think I'd watched Wolf on Wall Street. I'd watched the scene of Always Be Closing, this kind of like businessman. You must be ruthless and cold and sell, sell, sell. And yeah, I kind of got caught in that, I think. And yeah, just portrayed this, I just wasn't myself. And I put that front on for like 3 years, to like people around me, to the team, to investors, to like family and friends as well, to kind of protect myself. I think I was just trying to keep that version of me here, because actually behind the scenes I wasn't quite sure who I was, and I wasn't quite sure if I could even bring that to like a business. I just thought, like, there's no way I can be my real self here. So I just kept that away and did lots of things and made lots of actions and decisions and acted like a fake version of myself for 3 or 4 years. And it's easy like to say it now, but I think at the time I had no idea that's what I was doing. That's just kind of what was happening. Looking back, I was just hollow. I just was this shell of myself. And at the end of that, we did close the business down, but 6 months before we closed the business down, I actually quit. So it got to the point where I literally couldn't fake it anymore. I couldn't continue being like this anymore. So I remember, like, yeah, it took me ages to get to this point, but I kind of called James in and just said, "Mate, I literally can't continue. If you want to continue building this and doing this in this way, then cool, but I just can't do it anymore. It's not me." I remember that conversation so well. And then, yeah, from there I was just lost, to be honest. I don't know if anyone else like has felt like that, but I just didn't, because I was sure that that's who I wanted to be or what I wanted to do. But then there was this like blank canvas of just like emptiness, where I was jumped in and was like, okay, well, who am I? Like, what do I do next, sort of thing. I think that's where I learned quite a bit about myself. I went traveling for a bit and kind of figured my way through that. I went into another job. I actually worked for another startup called Bright Clinic to kind of help them through that. And again, I just wasn't really myself there, still going through it. I then moved to Manchester away from London and moved and started with Ignite, the company that invested in Matchchat back in the day, which is amazing, like full circle. Yeah, and I think it took me like a couple of years after Matchchat to like just get myself back together again and like learn, like remind myself who I am. I know that sounds ridiculous. And then how that leads to Sanctus, I think, as well as that, I think one of the things I always have tried to do with myself, but also like people around me, is like look at life as this thing where you literally get it once. Like you get one go at it, and once it's gone, and we've got to make the most of it. You've got to live it. And I've always just felt really, I've got this perspective on like how grateful I am to be here and to be able to do something. And that's something I've always tried to like give to my little brother, my little sister, to try and say, guys, you know, do what you love, bring your passion. If you're not happy doing something, change it. If you're not, yeah, if you don't want to live somewhere, move. If you don't like your job, quit. If you're not happy in a relationship, then do something about it. I've always had that kind of attitude and always tried to like give that to other people. And yeah, I think when we started talking about Sanctus and talking about like changing the perception of mental health and like allowing people to, I mean, that's big, but I think that the second like thing that we don't talk about maybe as much is once you change the perception of mental health, and once you change that feeling of being lost or not being yourself, or however many other million terms that we have for describing mental health, once you change that perception and it's normal, it's then about how can we literally like enable other people to be their full selves, and how can we help people work through things so they can live their full life. How can we help people understand themselves better so they can live life to the max? And I think once we started talking about mental health more, me and James, once I started seeing it through that lens, I was like, oh my God, like that is everything that I'm about. Is like this upside of like, yes, there's like kind of this perception of mental health that is dark and scary, and there's some real like harsh realities to one end of the spectrum that we always need to talk about and work on. But when we also started talking about, but if you can work through those things, and maybe there's another end of the spectrum where you're yes, self-aware, emotionally intelligent, resilient, you know yourself super well, what can that unlock and what can that mean for you in your life? It was almost like, if we can do that, and that's like scaling my like core thing of making the most of life. So yeah, I think from that point I was sold. Yeah, me and James, once we started talking about that, and actually when I saw, so on the side of the story, after I left Matchchat, and I quit, James kept running the business, and he really kind of got into quite a difficult place and had anxiety attacks and stuff like that. Yeah, when I saw him go through that, I couldn't really relate. I actually agree with my mates there. I was like, mental health's not for me. That's not, you know, I've never had anxiety attacks. That's not me. But then when he started working on himself, started talking about himself, started, you know, things like journaling and therapy and coaching, and yeah, really started to work on him, I saw a massive change in him, not just to like himself, but like this new version that was like, he was self-aware, he knew himself, he definitely, like, you could see he was more empathetic and knew himself better, he was more aware of his kind of what he was saying and his actions. He was like this upgraded version of my best mate, and that's when I was like, wow, like if we can change the perception, if we can create a space for people to be able to do that, that is scaling the thing that I'm most passionate about, living your full life, and being your full self. And that's something that like I wasn't able to do for a few years, and actually, like, as I've started running this thing and running Sanctus, so many friends and actually really close family, there's a lot of kind of connections with what the darker end of mental health that actually has affected my family and friends more than I ever thought. And actually, yeah, that's maybe for another video, but kind of 6 to 12 months into running this, I learned of things that I had no idea, and that kind of drives me on more as well. So yeah, it's definitely, I think that's a snippet, that's a 10-minute snippet of kind of some of my initial thoughts of why I'm here. I'm not the best at this, so I need to work on explaining my thinking, but I hope that gives a little bit of an insight into like why I'm so passionate about this, why I'm here. Feels like a bit of a job interview for my own company, but that's fine. And I'm pretty sure there'll be a part 2, maybe a part 3 to this, where I'll dig a bit deeper as well. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned. Cheers team. Bye.